Good evening, everybody. This is John Marola from Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And this is our second season, our 20th episode of our second season. And overall, this is our 71st episode of Keeping It Real Section 5 Football. And I just want to say thank you for everybody that subscribed. If you all subscribed and all that to help us out, we really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please go down and hit the button, hit the like button. If you have any comments or anything like that, please subscribe and let us know how you feel. After that, we have, if our sponsors are at the end of our show, we did pick up a couple of people that just donated. I appreciate that very much. I would say their names, but they just told me they'd rather not. But I'm very appreciative for that. And but if you'd like to be a sponsor or know anybody that'd like to be a sponsor, just give me a call, or you can email me, and we'll set it up, and you can be a partner with us, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're done with that, and now we're going to go on to our show. As you can see, the man in the middle this week is from Riddell Sports. It's Kyle Fenn. Before that, I have to introduce my partner on my far right, Section 5 Hall of Fame coach from East High, Coach Paul Brigandy. Coach?
Thank you, John, and welcome, Kyle. Welcome back.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Welcome. So what we're going to talk about tonight is, like we had Kyle on last year, and just talking about stuff that, Riddell's just moving. They're constantly...
They're all moving.
They're trying to come up with new and, safe stuff, and we're going to get into a little of that right now. So... Paul, you want to start?
Sure. Kyle, for the listeners that missed the first time you were on, give a little background of how you got involved in, working with the Riddell Company, and some of your job description, what you're doing.
Well, I can't remember. It's been 30-something years.
It's been a minute.
No, I actually started out in the reconditioning business with a company called Central Athletic. You guys probably heard of them way back. That was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then I was going to leave and get back into the golf business, which is where I started. But then Riddell came to the company and said, "We're buying you. Mm-hmm. You can either come join us." And they made me a pretty good offer to look over Rochester. Well, at that time, Rochester, Buffalo. Because I was going to move to a little bit of Syracuse, Binghamton, and Elmira. Mm-hmm. I mean, the territories now, thank God, pretty much all of Section 5, a little of Section 4, and a little of Section 6.
Okay. So you're talking over 100 teams, schools.
Yeah, it's right around 100 teams with colleges in the area and high schools. Yeah, all the D3 colleges in my area I cover. Alfred State, St. John Fisher, Brockport, U of R.
Yeah, I mean, definitely keeps you busy. I remember the days that I was either at Aquinas or up at Leadership or...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's a blast. It's... honestly, and I'm not just... seeing you and doing it with you once a year, to me, it's okay. But you got to do it, like, every day.
Oh, yeah, it's fun from the beginning of November till... pretty much the end of January. And actually now, with D3 colleges allowed to have true spring ball, a lot of them, some of them will wait until after spring ball and take the risk to get it back in time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It works out fine because of the way they prioritize things at the company.
Okay.
Well, Kyle, explain a little bit about that. What part of the year you're doing the reconditioning? What part of the year you're a salesman? I know you get involved with some of the state high school clinics you guys attend.
Oh, yeah,
and explain to the audience basically how your year works.
For the most part, once two-a-days start, or whatever you want to opening day starts, usually the middle of August. That's when I go and just make sure everybody's in good with their helmets and their shoulder pads and whatnot. Although now, excuse me, it's getting tougher because it's tough to get those products out the door as soon as we used to be able to.
Right. I can remember sometimes at East High, if we had more numbers at the freshman level or other levels, that we needed more helmets. And when could you get them?
Well, and now everybody paints their helmets. So
that's added time.
Now that's added time because of drying and all that. And then pretty much after the season starts, September's usually pretty slow. September, October, I start setting up appointments to collect the equipment starting at the end of October through, it's usually right through middle to end of January.
Wow.
Do you deal with the athletic directors or coaches? Who do you...
it used to be, when I started, it was pretty much always the athletic director. But I mean, now at a lot of these schools, the athletic directors have other responsibilities, or there's just too much going on for them. I mean, the final say comes from the athletic director, but I deal more and more with the coaches now, do some helmet fittings. And I mean, with our new Axiom helmet, we actually scan heads, too.
You don't have the sock, do you?
I do not, darn it.
Shucks.
I brought the wrong one. I brought the wrong bag.
For people that are out there last year when, actually that was like the second year that the Axiom helmet came out. I didn't really know.
It was actually second year.
Yeah, that was towards the beginning of the second year.
Yeah.
And I put on a little, for the people out there, I had on was, what people, like a ski mask. Most of us know it as a ski mask. The younger kids out there at high school, which I worked in high school, so I know all about it, it's a shiesty.
That's right.
Remember the shiesty?
Oh, yeah.
So,
that's pretty much what it is. And, you put it on your head like a hood. I go around with my iPhone and it just takes multiple pictures, and then they can actually build the helmet around your head. So no air's involved, which air's more for the adjustment of the helmet, not really the, quote, safety of the helmet. Some people get the wrong concept. Let's put a large helmet on a small head and overinflate it, which you actually want it the opposite.
Yes.
The less air you have, the better off you are.
Yes.
And now with the new Axiom, these true fit helmets, they're more expensive, but once they're on a kid's head, you don't have to worry about readjusting. And
they're basically one of a kind because it's fitted for, everybody's head's a little different.
Yep.
Pretty
much one of a kind, although now we've also got them. Remember the old days where it was like baseball hats?
Right.
You ordered helmets in seven.
Yeah, 7 1/4, 7 3/4, whatever.
Now for some of the high schools, it's tough. They don't want to buy for an individual kid and then have to rescan for the next player as they graduate. So we've actually gone to what we are configurable helmet, which is sized helmets, 7, 7.5.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yep.
So I think there's 7 different sized helmets. And if they don't want to do scans, I come in with different samples of different sizes.
Okay.
And they still want to pick the kids that they want to have that helmet for if they're not buying the whole varsity team.
Yeah.
Which not many are doing that yet.
No.
It's a little bit more expensive.
So you continue on after you set up this reconditioning, then you're making your rounds at the end of the season.
Yeah, and ironically, it's now that we have uniforms to sell and other products, that's when we have all our deals going on during the reconditioning.
Oh, really?
So I mean our best deals, not the only time, but our best deals. So if I know schools that need uniforms, I try to bring in samples during that particular time when I'm actually packing the equipment. So those 3 months are probably the busiest time for me.
Yeah.
And then really February and March are a little slower. April picks up with guys that didn't order early.
Yeah, I know, and I believe it's probably February or March. They have the New York State High School Coaches Associate that clinic up at Turning Stone, and you guys you're usually there with your exhibits and
I mean February and March is a big time for coaches clinics and athletic director clinics. Actually, the New York State one got moved. It used to be in early February. Now it's early March.
Okay.
Moved it.
So now it's back to back. It's the New York State Coaches Show at Turning Stone, and then the 8 athletic directors have their show up in Saratoga every year. And you're running into people that you haven't gotten in touch with or whatnot. and showing the new product. Not much sales go on there. It's more keeping your face out there and your contacts. Yep.
Now, well, one thing I told the last time that we were out here is that a couple years ago, my younger sister bought both her sons' helmets, and they had them reconditioned, going from their junior to their senior year. Then after their senior year, they kept the helmets. My nephews, when I go over their house, their helmets are up on the.
It's not a bad move.
What's that?
Well, and that's not a bad move now with the Axiom helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a couple individuals that want to buy them, and I mean, it's tough depending on where they're from to go out and scam one kid. You know, that's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, that's tough. Yep.
But I have had some players stop by my office. They'll stop by the office, and I'll scan them there.
Okay.
Well, kind of explain a little bit about this helmet. When did it come out, and some of the, I guess we would say improvements they've made.
Yeah, so the Axiom came out really about 3 years ago. And it's called our True Fit because of the scanning process. Yes. I mean, and the interior padding is so much more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like wearing a glove. It's so much more comfortable. Well, the design cracks help with the dispersity of blows to the head. And inside, you can't see it, but under the padding, we have what we call our Insight technology, which basically triggers, it takes every single hit that your head takes.
Yep.
And we give you a computer printout once a week so you can see where players are taking hits to the head. It's not for concussions. It's more for Johnny O is hitting with the top of it. It shows 80% of,
you get the instruction, and this is where you're making contact.
As a coach, you're not always able to see that. So this helps from that standpoint.
Like, say, a trainer would have their phone at practice.
Yeah, it's basically an iPhone, Samsung phone.
Yeah.
They're not really looking at the hits at that particular time. But after practice, it's all downloaded. And they can actually go to the website and bring up the information. But I think a lot of them like to just get that printed sheet.
Yeah, so they can look at
printed email every week.
Kind of explain this. I've been out of this coaching for the last 6 years, but I remember the old plastic clips, and we were tighten them up during the games, and
that was difficult.
And they were breaking or whatever, and some of the newer.
So we came out with, this is what we call our quick release. I don't have the tools. You can take a pen and pop these off, and then the face mask comes off. We actually started, the quick release has been around since the original Flex helmet came out, which was, that's 12 years ago now.
Okay.
And you guys also remember you had
the
screws up
from
here.
The top. Yep.
So now with actually the Flex came out first, and you hooked up the mask here and here.
Yep.
So you could actually have flex points.
Okay.
So the mask, when you got hit in the face, the mask would disperse the blows. Now we've even gotten away from not even a hookup up here. It's all on the bottom of the cage.
Yep.
So you have more dispersion of the blows when they take hits to the face.
Now, do you have a lot of different style cages also that would go with this particular helmet?
We have 7 standard cages, and then if the kid wants to be real cool, he can buy a $100 cage.
Nice.
But yeah, there's 7 standard, and actually 4 of them come without any bar up top.
Okay, I've seen those.
More for vision. I mean, the vision you get with this helmet is much greater than any other helmet on the market, really.
Well, and how many? You have this style helmet.
Yep.
How many different style helmets does Riddell come out with? Have?
So really, at the adult level, there's really 3. We have the Flex helmet, which has been out for 95% of my schools are bought the Flex over the I don't even know of any schools that aren't buying the Flex now in my area. And then we have what we call the Speed Icon,
Yep.
which you guys probably remember the Speed helmet.
Right.
So those are the well, and then at the NFL and college or college D1 level, we have a Precision Fit helmet, which same concept as the Axiom, where you put the hood on, but then that helmet is designed strictly for you. It can't be manipulated later on to rescan for another player.
Okay.
High schools aren't buying that. It's
too expensive.
$1,600, and
Ooh.
so
No, explain to everyone. And I think these are still the same. How long is the life expectancy of these helmets as far as, what would not pass reconditioning, even if it was in a decent shape?
So there's a 5-year shell warranty. So if anything happens to the shell within the first 5 years, it's automatically replaced.
Okay.
The average life of a helmet, if it's used and reconditioned every year, you don't have to recondition your helmets every year. Obviously, we recommend it. Noxie, who runs everything with the helmets, says minimal every other year.
Okay.
Minimal. So where was I going?
Well, I guess is the length of time.
10 years.
So 10 years is the shelf life,
regardless once it's 10 years,
of use.
it's going to be off.
But the average life expectancy of a helmet that's used every year and reconditioned is about 7 to 8. But after 10 years, it's automatically tossed. You don't want to wear a helmet over 10.
The other thing that I've seen is a couple of the area schools have 2-color helmets. Where you talk about ordering things, but now you're ordering. Each kid has 2 helmets.
I think where that started, colleges and pros not so much. But colleges started.
I think Oregon came out with
had
a
like
different
4
helmet
or 5 helmets.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to creep into the high schools now. It helps with getting players out because, there's a couple schools. There's probably 6-7 schools in my area that
have multiple.
Minimum of 2. Yeah.
You excuse me. You were saying that going back to the helmets now, every 2 years they have to be done.
Unless you want a lot of liability.
No. I understand that. Now I'm just trying. The kind of as far as the expense of helmets, schools say you got 100 helmets. Just throw it out there, 100. So this year I'm going to send out 50. Next year I'm going to send out the other 50, and then just do it like that.
Yeah, I see that at the youth level more often.
Because then they could save money to maybe get into more of these helmets.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think as money cost as far as.
Yeah, and the only drawback to that in my mind is now who are you going to say you get the non-reconditioned helmet and Johnny gets the reconditioned?
They're just mixed in. I mean, it's just.
Oh, but you can tell it.
But you can tell at the end of the season. You got to be able to,
right.
You got to be able at the end of the season.
I mean, really, at the high school level, youth level, yes, I see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
High school level, if the helmets are used, they're sending them in. They don't want to take the risk. I mean, we recommend it, even though Noxie says.
I understand. Yeah, no, I understand. But I'm just trying to think as far as
saving money and
not saving money, using that money now to buy new helmets.
New helmets. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Kyle, just looking at it, I see, obviously the warning sticker. And does it tell? Is this what the year that this helmet would?
That's the initial season.
So, is that where it's usually placed, or
so it's placed inside? And there's 2. There's one on the outside and one on the inside.
Inside. What year the helmet was?
It's kind of underneath the padding, so it doesn't fall. Because this one can fall off, although it's rare. And then when they get certified, there's a certification sticker that we put on the back right above the initial season.
Now, so people at home, I know this is tough to see, but actually this feels like when you put it on, it feels like a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah, people say that.
Yeah, it feels just like
and it feels heavy in the hands, people say, but when you get it on your head,
it's not that. There's no face mask. I mean, the face mask, I can tell now,
and
there's nothing there.
The way everything's weighted, it doesn't feel heavy on your on your head.
But yeah, for people out there that are trying to understand what they've done is they made these more like motorcycle helmets
Yeah.
as far as the fitting
with
wise,
the padding and
the
the fitting.
padding. Yes,
Yep.
yeah, it's really like cutting edge.
Yeah, Riddell keeps coming out with more and more technology, and
And
all the helmet companies really.
How does that work for you throughout the year? Is there a convention, a seminar when you get to see the new products, or when do they do that, or how does?
So we have a national sales meeting it's usually towards the late September, that last week, second week from the last, usually in late September. It's September 20th this year. And we all go into Chicago. Well, this year it's in Chicago, where our headquarters are.
Okay.
Our reconditioning plant, main one, is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we do get together, and it's 4 or 5 days of showing new product, going over old product, going over numbers, getting yelled at by your regional manager.
So are you making that trip to Cleveland back and forth many a time?
No.
Or when you have
Once a year.
Okay, so but I'm talking even when you get the helmets that you've got to send out for reconditioning. Where do you
So I take them up to, it used to be UPS Freight, now it's a company called T-Force.
Okay. And
And they leave a big trailer out in the yard, and until I
just
fill
fill
that
that
up.
up, and you said the
Yeah, I mean, I rent a Penske truck and travel around, and
Yep, I've been there.
don't have to pay for gas.
Yeah, that's the good part.
And I can get about 85 bags worth of helmets.
And each school is probably around, I'd say 15.
Yeah, 15 to
15,
20.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I take them up to T-Force, and once that trailer fills, which is about 400 bags of equipment,
wow,
which I fill up 3 times a year.
Okay. And then you got to, and then do you do that same? How do you disperse them back
And
to
then
the various schools?
they're actually shipped FedEx ground.
to the school,
directly to the school.
Okay.
I'm not that crazy.
Yeah, well, you'd be a road warrior.
Yeah.
On that road.
A couple youth groups here and there that, because they're in storage units, and you can't FedEx can't. I'll have them drop them off at my house. and-
Yeah.
Then they pick
But
them up.
yeah, don't get any ideas.
No,
FedEx
please.
What else have you brought for us today?
Yeah, what do you
Some
got
of the
down
new,
here?
Some of the other.
So Riddell hooked on with a company called Game Breaker for flag football.
yeah, which has gotten huge.
Huge. I mean, youth groups, the girls now. There's more
Oh, they're
women's flag football now. In New York State, the women don't have to wear.
so it's optional.
It's optional.
This is like Rudy.
Back to Rudy. No, that's back to Jim
Actually,
Thorpe.
these things don't weigh anything.
No. They weigh
They
nothing.
weigh nothing. And they're very, I mean, you get hit in the head.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's definitely you're covered, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually the women have to wear.
For just safety.
I don't have. I thought I
The other
brought
one,
it.
the headband one.
You know, I might have it over there. No, it's in that bag.
Oh, okay.
There's a headband one
Yeah.
so there's no top to it, and the women seem to like that a little bit better. But right now there's no mandatory.
For
These are really comfortable, though.
But it's a great company, the Game Breaker.
Game breakers. Yeah.
We do uniforms through them for flag and.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now, is there any? Have you had the opportunity to deal with many of the girls' flag football coaches?
Not yet, because I like giving stuff a year to kind of
See how
right.
you go.
And this is the first year we hooked. Game Breaker's been around for a little bit, but this is the first year
That,
we're dealing with them.
with them.
I've learned over the time that jumping into something is
It's always so good.
Right. But it has taken off the amount of teams.
Oh, it's
the amount
amazing.
of girls playing. Obviously, the popularity is
Yeah.
just skyrocketing.
Absolutely amazing.
Do you remember what I said last time about who's the MD? Who was it?
Oh, I still have no idea. Who is it?
Modern day.
man, they had a,
They're the number one team in the nation.
That might be that.
That's their colors. So
Could be.
that's the way their style is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the way they put their helmets together. So.
I see you have a jersey back here too.
Yep. So, like I said, we've really gotten into the uniform business, especially the football end of things. Although we sell baseball, basketball, lacrosse, hockey. I mean, really, football is probably 85% of my sales in the uniform business because we're Riddell, we're football.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys have taken a liking to our uniforms. And, I mean, not just our uniform, but everything is more streamlined now.
Yep, that's for sure.
I mean, they're a lot tighter. They're meant to be painted on, but they stretch unbelievably.
Yeah, they can see.
I mean, remember the old days?
Oh,
it was
Jesus.
like where now they're practice jerseys. You
They're
know?
not even around.
It's it's amazing. Or the jerseys that you used to have to snap.
There was
between
a
your
tail.
legs.
You'd have a tail and pull that.
Snap it.
Right.
Kids today are just way.
Yeah,
we're flying over the top.
They
of
would
them.
have no idea. No idea.
And you know what? Remember how hot they were?
Oh,
and
they were like made of cotton.
Cotton, or it was like this
Or
silky polyester.
Yep.
Oh my God! I remember when my dad was over at Cardinal Mooney. He had a washer and dryers there, and after the games, he'd be throwing, and it just stunk. So everything, just everything holds the smell.
Yep.
It's just awful.
Yeah, it's
they've come a long way with uniforms. You know, you think of the old baseball uniforms, the heavy. Well, you know what they've done too in that sport, and football done their own improvements too.
Yeah, I mean, the uniform business has come a long way.
Yeah, actually, the helmets. I mean,
everything.
Yeah,
Shoulder pads.
The shoulder.
We got one of those. Let me reach over here and grab a shoulder pad. Explain what they've done in that.
Well, apparently I should have taken that off, but so remember the old days with the shoulder pads? Everything was laced up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You rarely see that now.
You had the little clip, those little,
and you used to have
the
two pieces
down.
here.
Yep, the big.
And they were big.
Big.
The bigger you were, the better you were.
Yeah, you were.
Now it's all streamlined. I mean, this is what we call our stack system. So again, the whole mobility thing comes into play. Everything moves with your shoulder.
Yeah, you said
back.
the time we moved everything's with your hands these days.
Right.
With the linemen.
Right, so a lot more streamlined than the shoulder pads.
Yeah. I mean, they think of every little
lot
thing.
lighter.
Oh my God!
Than they used to be.
And I see you have a back plate on here. And do they have like you see a lot of quarterbacks wear the rib. Do you make?
We have any accessory with the shoulder pad. The back plates. Some of the models come automatically with the back plate, and kids love them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, whether it's protecting them or not,
They
looks cool.
They look cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Let's start there.
And I see it's funny because when I pick up shoulder pads, I'll see a lot of back plates, and they'll have their decals
stickers on them or whatever. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
They kind of personalize them.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Yeah, it is a much later. Remember from the
old days. Yeah. And you had to have the cowboy collar. And
I had all that stuff, man.
The
shoulder
neck rolls,
pads,
the neck rolls,
the thigh pads. Earl Campbell, thank you.
They were throwing.
Thank you, Earl.
Yeah, I mean now I hardly run into any individual pads. Now everybody's buying the padded girdle or the padded pants.
Yeah, they're right. They just
it's amazing.
I remember the one year we were coaching. We went out to Buffalo. We were out at Buffalo playing. And before the game, the ref calls our captains, and our captains go over, and it was just, I want to say this was 2010, 2009, somewhere around there.
Right.
And the ref comes over to us. He's like, Coach, your kids aren't dressed right. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, they have no knee pads, and that was like the start of the kids and the way that our kids.
This is
the way they came in. It was like a half a pad.
Oh yeah,
And that was like the.
Now they just make them that way. They don't
Right.
But
They're
nobody
probably altering and just
nobody
Right.
nobody says anything now about them. You know.
Well, it became a rule change this year. Now you have to have them, and they have to be on your knee.
Well, that's-
there was a lot
over
of
the
that.
knee or on the knee.
Over
Well,
the knee.
you know
Over
what?
the knee.
Kyle, you bring up a great point because I'm watching these games and they're almost in short.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's like they're in short pants.
And
now
again, thank the colleges for that. They all wear
for
them.
safety.
Yep.
But yeah, that was happening, and you were seeing those pants go higher
Keep
and higher
going
up,
up,
the leg.
keep
yeah.
going up. Yeah,
Kids
it's
basically
almost
had
like you were-
spandex with thigh pads, little
Right.
thigh pads.
Right. And half of them don't even want to wear thigh pads.
Give me the smallest. And back when we were playing, it was give me the biggest stuff
Right,
you got.
right.
Give me
Now
the biggest.
it's-
Now
yeah.
it's give me the
It's
smallest.
amazing. It's
Lyman
amazing.
with these little inky dinky little pads.
I don't know if you guys remember too. Did you remember the tearaway jerseys?
Yeah.
That they
Oh,
used
yeah,
to
yeah.
have? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, if you left them out ripped, you never getting a chunk of jersey, and these running backs were running.
Oklahoma and Texas used to
they
be
had
famous
the
for that.
exactly.
The old tearaway jersey.
Yep.
You know,
Then on the sideline, they ripped that jersey off because it was ripped. They throw another jersey, and that jersey they throw out was ripping. Is there, you know what I mean? So it was just like
those were
it
almost
was-
like paper.
Yeah,
jerseys.
yeah.
It was just like,
Right.
You know, so
Rip on contact.
Yeah,
crazy.
But no, that's great to do. So, you know, you've explained pretty much that year that you know, your travels, what you do at certain parts of the year, and when is you know, like you were mentioning, actually the best time for coaches to order is
Yeah, I mean, the best time is between really the beginning, late October through middle of January.
When you're collecting.
Right. I mean, that's when we have our best price points and whatnot.
So you hear that, coaches and athletic directors?
Oh, they
That's
all
the time
they
you wanna
all
know.
hear it.
They hear it. But just
They
even,
all hear
like I
it.
said, even before talking now to parents are so concerned about their kids
Oh, absolutely.
not having, and you, I mean, these are a little bit, you know, it's going to cost you a couple dollars, but then again, it's going to get, the school's going to recondition it.
Yep.
If your son's a junior and he's going to be a senior, this goes out, but it's marked for your helmet. And
Yep.
then it comes back, and then when he's a senior, instead of handing it in, it goes home up on it, and it's a lifetime.
You
Exactly.
know,
Making business for
Right.
one question I have for you, and you can probably explain the evolution of, you know, Riddell makes helmets. I don't know who else now are even in the helmet business,
So-
but is pretty much everyone in Section 5 using the Riddell helmets?
For the most part, yeah. There's a couple schools that have competitor. What's that?
bike.
Who are
Well,
the,
it used to be bike.
Used to
Now
be-
it's called Shut.
Oh, shut. That's
Shut.
right. They're about
Yep.
the only other one that.
And then there's
I mean, there's a
company-
couple, but they're now I'm talking
Vices.
even smaller.
Yeah, Vices and Shut are two, and then there's a company called Light that I haven't even seen
Nothing.
much of that.
Nothing.
but I would think you guys have a big percent.
Yeah,
pretty much
we're
of Section 5.
we're. I mean, over the whole market, I think we're 78% or somewhere around. I don't want to. That's not exact, but it's pretty high.
But
No,
how,
yeah.
how has that changed since you first started? The number of companies that were making helmets to now what it's at.
Well, it's fun. I mean, it was like a whole turnaround. It used to be. I mean, Wilson, Rawlings,
Right, the sporting goods store,
Riddell,
yeah.
Shut, and at the time it was called Bike or
Bike
helmets, yeah.
AHI.
Right.
Yep.
Trying to think if Spalding had one. There were probably 5 or 6. Not when I first started, but then it came down. It was just us and Bike. Well,
Yeah.
again, now Shut.
Shut. Yeah.
It was just us two, and then Zenith came in, Vices, Light Helmet. So the Zenith actually, unfortunately, shut their doors this year, so you can't
So
get
they
it.
can't get that.
No,
But even the evolution from the suspension helmet, you had water helmet, air helmet,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the different.
I had all those.
Right.
The water helmets were absolutely ridiculous.
So
yeah.
I had it for a half a
I
season.
think that was Wilson or Rawlings.
Rawlings.
They had
I had a water helmet, and actually we were playing, and I got hit, and I'm just with that. And it's not really water.
No,
were
it's like a liquid
yes,
gel.
because it got all in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yep, that was brutal. The suspension helmet was my freshman year. I had that for a half a season, and
that's basically this helmet
yeah,
with a hard outer shell.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But the helmets back, everything was so heavy. Everything was just.
Yeah.
And then it starts raining, and you're out in the rain and mud, and now it's like
crazy.
10 times worse. But we loved it. That's the way we grew up, you know.
That's right. And football just keeps evolving.
Yep.
Just like all the sports.
Yeah.
Well, you do a great job, you know, and through covering Section 5 in Western New York.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, we're lucky to have you.
I appreciate that.
Does that, and, you know, I remember back in the day when you'd come to East High.
Oh, yeah.
Very well, you know, very well organized. It
is funny, though. I mean, I'm one of the old ones now. I mean, the new kid in Syracuse, I think he's 24 years old. The kid out in Buffalo.
Everybody knows a kid.
Right. I think my girls are older than mine.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
You've seen it from grow and the whole development of everything.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
But I remember doing stuff with you back in when I was at Aquinas in 2000.
Yeah.
You know, back then. And even before that. You
Yeah.
know, just.
Yeah,
come a long way.
Started with Riddell in '96.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been a journey.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the way the helmets have evolved, even from the time I started. I mean, the old VSR4 and WD1 and
those, yes.
AF2s.
Oh my God!
So
yes.
much.
I mean, we had a lot of models back then, but nothing. I mean, when we transitioned to the Speed helmet or the Revolution helmet,
I remember those, the
Yep.
Revolutions.
Yeah, I mean, that was like holy.
That was like groundbreaking.
That was right.
Oh yeah, we got a phone call or email or both, phone call and email. We're meeting in 2 weeks in Cleveland to go over this new design we just came out with, and it was like, what?
What's going on?
What's the secret?
Okay.
Yeah, what's the
And now that's so far behind.
Oh, I don't even think I've seen a Revolution in 10 years.
I was going to say that had to be 10 years ago.
Oh, it was longer.
I mean, it was long, but the last time I seen them,
I actually saw one was
probably 10 years.
12 years.
On a freshman kid.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But anyways, I'd like to thank you for being here.
Appreciate
you,
having me.
buddy.
Really
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
It's always a lot of fun.
We always enjoy when you come on and show the new
No,
products.
I
and that.
love stopping and have me anytime. Really appreciate it.
We look forward to the football season.
Careful what you wish for. That's an inside joke a little bit.
That's right.
So, but anyways, going on from here, Coach Burgandy, you next week.
Next week we'll have Dennis Greco, the former head coach at East Rochester, and Dennis is going to be a very interesting guest. Dennis was after he got done coaching, he was involved. He coached in the Arena Football League, the Rochester Raiders, and most recently he is now the town judge for East Rochester.
Really?
So he'll be an interesting guest, along with Brian Tarangio, who also was an East Rochester head coach.
Yep.
His last year there, I think they got to the state semifinals. And Brian played at Henniger High School, and he played for our friend Joe Casamento, who coached Christian Brothers Academy that won the states. He also coached with, also played for a guy named Bobby Casulo.
Yep.
And Bobby ended up coaching with the Raiders when John Gruden was there. He was a special teams coach.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Brian played for both of those two guys. So it'll be interesting to talk a little bit about that. And Brian currently is coaching at Fairport.
Okay. That's Fairport. Kind of like we go into, we've talked about where they are now. Type of things as far as coaches in Section 5, players in Section 5. Going back to that, after that, a week or so after that, we're going to have in from East High School and went to Kansas State, or was it Kansas?
Yeah, he went to Kansas State.
And then he played with
the Dallas Cowboys and the Cardinals.
And the Cardinals.
I remember.
Tony Jordan. So we're going to have Tony in. I've been trying to get him for a long time. Thank God I work with his wife, and we're going to corral him and get him in here. He's a lot of fun. And just, talking about his journey from starting at East High to professional football out of Rochester.
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting
great.
just talking about probably the whole recruiting process, what he had experienced, to what some of the kids now that are
Yep.
doing.
So that should be a great episode, and we got some other stuff still in line. And then before you know it, we're going to be done with our summer, and you're going to see us back in August, beginning of August. We're already working on that Westside Camp up at Greece Olympia this year, and this year we're going to, last year was our first year and all that, but this year we're going to make it a little bigger, hopefully a little better, and just have a lot of fun with that.
And
so
then another
then
football
the season we're here.
starts.
I mean,
It's amazing.
It just roll. I mean, after you get through like the January, February, March, the beginning of April, now you're starting to see a
feel
little.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
you're
feel
starting
it.
to see, and then April, May, and now we're in June, July, August. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
it's not far. It's
not far at all. So everybody, just stay tuned, and I just again thank you for subscribing. And we will see you next week. And remember how we're going to end now? On the
do.
3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Keeping it real, Section 5 football.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a great night.